In every major military power, across both history and fiction, elite units operate outside the conventional battlefield, trusted with missions too dangerous or politically sensitive for regular troops. In the Halo universe, the UNSC's NAVSPEC, or Naval Special Warfare Command, is well known for its operations in the Human Covenant War. Just like humanity, the Covenant have their very own Special Operations Division, an elite group of warriors who serve as the instruments of the Prophet's will, eliminating political rivals, ending rebellions, and even hunting down Spartans. Not much is known of the Covenant Special Operations Division, as their success rate rarely left witness. While the Covenant's military was already formidable, it was these shadow units who often shaped the course of the war from behind the scenes. The Special Operations Division, also known simply as Spec Ops, was the primary force within the Covenant Special Warfare Group. They reported directly to high-ranking Sangheili hierarchs and were tasked with unconventional warfare, stealth infiltration, black operations, advanced reconnaissance, assassinations, and sabotage. Spec Ops units often operated alongside conventional Covenant forces, softening up targets or dismantling enemy defenses in advance of major offensives. However, many missions were conducted independently, often deep behind enemy lines and under direct orders from the Covenant's leadership. Unlike the more visible forces of the Covenant military, Spec Ops units were cloaked in secrecy. Their operations were not logged in public records, and often only the Sangheili who ordered them knew of their full scope. According to ONI intelligence, even by 2558, the details of their operations remained obscure. They were regarded as the most tactically proficient forces within the Covenant military, and UNSC protocol required that any encounters with them be logged directly with High Command. Historically, only two species made up the Special Operations Division: Sangheili and Unggoy. Sangheili held command positions, while grunts were utilized as basic infantry. In more specialized units, grunts would be disregarded altogether, leaving only Sangheili members. Rarely, other species like Sangheili prelates or even Jega Rdomnai were attached to specialized operations, particularly during the Covenant's decline, but we'll get into those examples specifically a bit later. Teams were usually organized under a primary commander and a sub-commander, with standard Spec Ops infantry making up the bulk of the fighting force. The Supreme Special Operations Commander oversaw the entirety of the Covenant's special operations. We know of only one individual who held this rank, Artas Badum. Spec Ops utilized highly advanced equipment tailored for their stealth and lethality. Their combat harnesses almost ubiquitously featured active camouflage, advanced energy shielding, and occasionally experimental systems like adaptive camouflage or integrated tracking systems. Nearly all Sangheili were given energy swords, and some were equipped with gauntlet blades. Visor systems compatible with both Covenant and stolen UNSC hardware were also available. Spec Ops operated in nearly every campaign of the Human Covenant War. During the Fall of Reach, they deployed to gather intelligence and soften targets before the rest of the fleet arrived. Special operations teams of zealots were deployed for reconnaissance and destruction of a UNSC relay, which gave the Covenant an edge in their annihilation of the planet. At the very pinnacle of Covenant Special Forces stood the Silent Shadow, an order of Sangheili assassins operating under the Spec Ops umbrella. The Silent Shadow predates even the Covenant itself, emerging during the Sangheili's pre-Covenant spacefaring era in the Age of the Seven Worlds. At this time, a group that would become the Silent Shadow was formed. They worshipped a nameless deity and revered a mythic weapon, the Trikella, a triple-bladed spear believed to be capable of destroying mind, body, and soul across time. This shadowy Sangheili group would persist into the Covenant era, and like many aspects of elite culture, would be reshaped to serve the Prophet's whims. During the Covenant's reign, the Silent Shadow reported directly to the hierarchs. They were called upon to eliminate internal threats, such as insubordinate commanders, political dissidents, and at times even their own superiors. This role was so dangerous and politically sensitive that operatives were forbidden from showing their faces to high-ranking commanders. The Silent Shadow was composed almost exclusively of highly trained Sangheili swordsmen. These were not common warriors. Each member had demonstrated unparalleled proficiency in stealth, melee combat, and infiltration. First Blade officers led these squads, with their distinctive red-visored helmets marking their elevated status. Occasionally, Sangheili prelates were embedded in missions. Prelates were genetically enhanced Sangheili, given advanced armor, and capable of great feats of athleticism. Their armor integrated many forward elements, such as a hard-light gauntlet, making them a deadly foe on the battlefield. Silent Shadow operatives were known for their unique infiltration harness. Deep crimson armor equipped with advanced active camouflage systems. These suits featured adaptive coloration, making them even more invisible when moving through enemy territory. Their helmets were cycloptic and fully enclosed, both for protection and to conceal their identities. In combat, they favored blood-red energy swords, a symbolic and literal execution of their violent creed. Many of their weapons and tech were prototypes or restricted Covenant assets. Their infiltration protocols included psychological warfare, waiting for moments of vulnerability before striking swiftly and with overwhelming lethality. The Silent Shadow had a certain air about them. Members truly believed their actions were the will of the gods, and as such, acted out their missions with a certain religious fervor. Silent Shadow squads operated completely independently of one another as precision instruments, under entirely classified orders. Many high-ranking Covenant members feared the day they would see the glow of deep crimson blood blades. Given the Sangheili custom of never unsheathing a blade not meant for action, it was a rare few who could say they had seen the mythical blood blade and lived to tell the tale. During the Human Covenant War, the Silent Shadow were deployed in surgical strikes against high-value targets. One of their most infamous missions occurred sometime prior to December 2552. Spartan-III Headhunters Jonah B-283 and Roland B-210 were sent to a Covenant-held moon believed to be the site of a Forerunner excavation effort. Their mission was to destroy the surrounding Covenant base camps to pave the way for a larger operation to rid the moon of the Covenant and perhaps extract any technology useful to the UNSC. These two headhunters were a cut above the standard Spartan-III, assigned specifically for their skill and compatibility. They were equipped with more advanced SPI armor. Despite their skill and tech, they'd fallen right into a trap. After completing their mission, they were ambushed by a squadron of Silent Shadow. Roland was instantly stabbed through the back by a cloaked Silent Shadow warrior. Jonah was soon surrounded, but before they could kill the Spartan, he activated a series of pre-placed charges, killing himself and nearly all of the Sangheili there. Only one member of the Silent Shadow, Jega Rdomnai, would survive, suffering the loss of an arm and other serious injuries. Jega would later join the Banished and continue to hunt Spartans in particular. Another company of the Silent Shadow, unique enough for its mention, is the Blood Stars, composed of Jega Rdomnai stalkers, Spec Ops Sangheili, and select few jackals. This company operated under the command of First Blade Tal Zitule. The unit had access to all the same privileges granted to the Silent Shadow, such as experimental technology and high-level intelligence. This made them a deadly covert operations unit. By 2526, they operated a dedicated flotilla of intrusion corvettes executing critical missions such as the attempted recovery of the UNSC Starry Night. Following the collapse of the Covenant, the Special Operations Division fragmented. Some joined the Swords of Sanghelios, using their skills to root out any remaining Covenant holdouts. Others, disillusioned or still loyal to old ideals, turned to more violent paths. One faction of Silent Shadow, led by First Blade Ressa Azavel, began systematically hunting down and exterminating brute warbands, in revenge for the Great Schism. They eliminated Banished, rogue packs, and even took on entire cruisers. However, when confronted by Atriox aboard the Elegy's Lament, the unit fractured. Some saw truth in Atriox's words and joined him. Others, like Ressa, who rejected, were executed by their own comrades. Covenant Special Operation Forces were a scalpel in a war otherwise fought with hammers. While the overwhelming force of the Covenant often crushed UNSC resistance, there were moments when brute strength wasn't enough, when a silent blade was needed. That's when special operations were deployed. We may never know the full scope of their role in the Human Covenant War, but one thing is certain: they were a force to be reckoned with. And that's the lore of the Covenant Special Operations Division. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more explorations of the Halo universe and other sci-fi stories, let me know by liking this video and leaving a comment down below. And as always, thank you for watching.